Hey, legends. Frazer Brookes here, back with another episode of the Network Marketing Ninja podcast. I'm super excited to be with you all again, as always, guys. Today, I have something really, really special for you. I have my friend with me, Emily Gibson. Emily, how you doing?
So good. How are you?
I am doing amazing. So, guys, if you're watching on the YouTube, you will see that Emily is like bright, like goddess, like she's like just already dressed for the show, right? It's like midnight her time, so it's like, right, I'm gonna put my best dress on, and and for me, it's like first thing in the morning, and I'm just wearing like a black t-shirt. I've got 3 bags underneath each of my eyes. It's just, this is what happens when you build international businesses. You create content with people all around the world. It just is what it is. And the crazy thing is, me and Emily are both night owls, right? So we both like the kind of the grind until the 2 o'clock in the morning. So we have to one of us had to make a sacrifice to get up early. And that was me, which I'm excited about. So
Hey,
here we go.
I said you could pick any time, and you said you preferred morning. And I was like, that's fine. I can do midnight. I'll be up.
I'm just making myself feel better.
I will say, I am in pajama pants. I did not keep my jeans on. I have pajama pants on and my socks.
You're missing out. For you guys listening in, you're missing out on the we just revealed all. I actually showed a leg.
Pants on, and I have pajama pants on.
Yeah, just so you know, like I showed leg, but there wasn't that much shorts involved. But there are shorts that Emily can show. There's definitely shorts involved.
It definitely looked like you didn't have any shorts on. Yeah, I think everybody should make sure to go see again. Oh, now he's got to show us.
There we go. I'm standing up. Oh, I nearly pulled a hamstring doing that. I nearly pulled a hamstring. All right. So we could banter and we could chat. We could chat a lot of rubbish for the next half an hour. But Emily's got so much incredibleness to share. But before we kind of get into that, let's go back before you joined network marketing. What were you doing before network marketing, and how did you kind of find network marketing?
So it's kind of crazy because I was a stay-at-home mom. My kids were 7, 5, 3, and 4 months old. And I remember leaving the pediatrician's office after they had told me like my milk supply had dried up and my baby was not gaining weight. So this is devastating to me as a stay-at-home mom, right? Because your whole life that's your job, is to excel at being a mom. And I was like, I didn't even know my baby was starving because he never cried. So I'm like leaving the pediatrician's office. I remember like sitting there with the lactation counselor, and she's like, it's going to be fine. Just pump 17 times a day and it will be fine. And I'm like, I hate you. And I don't ever want, like, this is awful. And in the same time, I was like, this woman is so nice. Like, maybe one day when all my kids are grown, I'll be able to inspire other women and help them feel supported and loved. And then I remember leaving and driving in my car. I can tell you exactly where I was, like on what road, what the weather was like. And I remember just saying like, I wish there was a way that I could like do that from my phone and be at home with my kids and make great money. And my next thought was, in 20 years, that'll never happen. There's nothing that I could do that in. And then 2 months later, I tried a product, and 2 weeks after that, I was like, this is like an MLM miracle. I should start talking about it. And it just took off from there. And I look back on it, like 18 months hit the top of the company. I look back on it and I remember thinking like, this is nuts. It was like, I offered a prayer, not knowing I was praying. And I wasn't like praying, but I was praying, like in my mind, I was thinking about it, right? It was like, I manifested it, put it out there, and like the universe or God or whatever you want to believe in, just like dropped it into my lap. Like, here you go. Perfect thing. Exactly what you asked for.
All nicely wrapped up, packaged with a nice red bow on it. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. So like,
exactly.
And did you like come across a post on Facebook? Was it like a friend reached out? Like, was it like a message like, hey, I noticed that we're like-minded individuals, and like what was it? Like, what did you kind of like, how did you find it? How is it presented to you?
So I had a friend that like, my mom was friends with her. And she was like, you need to be friends with this person. So I friended her, and she had always said, like, don't take anything. Don't take anything like this. Like, you don't need anything. And then she started posting about how you should take it. And I was like, what is she talking about? Maybe I should listen. So she made a video. She made a post and I was like, that's weird. And then she made a video. This was 7 years ago when Facebook Live wasn't a thing. So nobody was posting videos. Super weird to post a video on social media. Like creepy weird.
Yeah,
and you're like, someone must be dying. We better watch the video. There's got to be something here that we need to see. And so she was like in her car, pulled over on the side of the road. And I'm like, definitely someone has died. And then I'm watching the video and everything she's saying, I'm like, those are all my problems. Maybe I should do it. So then I reached out to her and she reached out to me and it went from there. And then for a month, I was like, it's too expensive. I can't afford it because we had no money. And then after a month of that, I was like calling my mom, are you seeing what she's posting? And my mom's like, yeah, I kind of want to do it too. I'm like, oh, perfect. Don't ever follow this horrible example. My mom said the words that all network marketers curse in our sleep. And when we're awake, let's share an account. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah. I love it.
Don't be doing that. That is illegal. Not okay. Ever.
But that's it. You heard it here first.
Yes. But then when I was like, the light bulb started going off in my mind, my mom was one of the first people I was like, you can't share my account anymore. You need to get your own account.
Yeah. Kick her out. You terminated her. You're like, right, you're no longer a part of this business. You got to sign up.
But she did split the membership fee with me the first time. And then I was like, I made out like a bandit.
Good use of leverage. I like it. I like it. That's what mums are for, I think.
I know. And then I made her pay her own fee all by herself.
So in that, obviously you went from 0 to 18 months to hit the top of the company. You're now 7 years in the game. Like, what's happened as a result? Obviously before you were struggling with money, 3 young kids. Like, what's happening now? Are the kids around you like, Mo, I want to be like mommy when I grow up? Is that the kind of conversation that's being having in the household?
Well, it's so funny because anytime that like I see a friend redo her basement, like do it yourself, like build out a bar or anything, I'll say, that's how you get to diamond. You know that, right? That's how you do it. And so my daughter will we'll see something like at Disneyland or something like that. There'll be a challenge and I'll overcome it. And my daughter will be like, you're going to tell us that's how you get to diamond, right? And I'm like, yep, you're right. That's it. I was going to say that. And don't ever forget it. That's how you do it. It's those skills that you need. That's all you need. Persistence and consistency. Don't let anyone tell you no, and you'll make it just fine. So lots of conversations. Lots of conversations around that. Yes. And then my oldest, he can tell you, like, he can repeat information about products. Like he can like a scientist. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, oh, I only heard you do it like 7 million times on a Zoom. Right. And then my youngest, he's just always like, his friends will come over from school and he'll be like, they'll be like, why is this name on everything in your house? And my son will say, oh, it's because my mom's job buys everything for us. Do you want to tell your mom about it? Could I get your phone number? I could give your mom's phone number to my mom. She'll call you.
It takes me back to like when I was 8 years old, because I was the same.
Same way you were doing it too. You're prospecting for your parents.
It's like my dad just sends me off to work, like off to school, like, now come back with a friend. Come back. We'll happily take sleepovers. Fine. We'll have kids over for dinner. Absolutely fine. The rule is their parents have got to pick them up. We don't drop them back off at home. They've got to pick them up before 8 o'clock because we have a presentation at 8 o'clock. Oh, the kid wants to stay for another hour. Well, that would be a shame if they had to leave. Why don't you stay?
You might as well just stay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, right. Like leverage. So you talked about consistency.
Genius.
Yeah, genius, really. It really was. So you talked about consistency. And you and I off camera, off camera, it feels like we're on a TV show. We kind of are. It is bigger than a TV show. It's definitely better work, better use of your time than a TV show. But
We are
we were
so much
mentioning
better than binge watching Netflix right now.
100%. Watch this 5 times instead of watching Netflix. So,
Yes.
we were talking about like motivation, like, yeah, motivation, like, nah, whatever. But consistency being super important. So how have you been able to be consistent, super consistent over the last like 7 years? It's allowed you to impact so many lives and build a phenomenal business.
It's all about the thoughts that create it, right?
Mhm.
Like that is everything. I live, breathe, eat, and die. Anything that you are doing is created by what you're thinking. The
Mhm.
money in your bank account that you have right now is created by what you currently think about money. The rank that you have in your company right now is created by what you currently think about your ability to rank.
Mhm.
So everything in your life, your relationship with your partner, your relationship with your kids, it's all created by what you think. So your consistency is created by what you're thinking. And if
Mhm.
you're thinking things like, this isn't worth it, this isn't going to make a difference, I don't even know why I do this, they're going to say no anyway, then you're not going to be able to be as consistent.
Mhm.
But if you believe, I'm just one person away from everything changing in my business,
Mhm.
which was my golden thought from day one. I just
Mhm.
believed it. That
Mhm.
was always what drove me and the reason why is because in my first month, I remember having a really hard time getting the first 3 people. I mean, obviously I called my mom and I was like, "You're it. Let's go." And then I called my sister and she's a nurse. And so I was just like, this is not going to kill us, right? Like, we're okay. She's like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. There's only a few bad things on Google about it. It's fine. And, and then
Wow.
my best friend, she took 2 weeks and she was like, I don't want to get involved with like a pyramid scheme. I was like, I know. It's fine. We can cancel anytime. Right. Like
Love the
all these things.
conviction. I
Oh
love the
my
conviction.
gosh. I know. I was like, no, we're doing this, right? And then I had another best friend that took like 18 months and she said she almost unfriended me. She said she has conversations with her husband where she was like, I'm gonna have to unfriend her. And I was like, I would not have let you do that ever. You will never unfriend me. We've been friends since we were 9, by the way. So,
I love
and I'm turning 40 this year. So do the math. We've long time, right? We're stuck together. We're getting buried side by side. We're in the old folks home together. It's a done deal. So, so I remember early in that first month working so hard to get those first 3 people and then having to get more. And it was when one person one day added their mom. And I was
Mm.
like, all of a sudden, I went from thinking, I don't know if I'm going to hit my goal to, oh my gosh, we're on fire. This is
Mhm.
happening. Someone sees it. It's
Mm.
happening. Like it was like that one person getting one person
Mhm.
wasn't a big deal. But in my mind, it opened up this door of
Mhm.
endless possibilities. And in that moment, I believed this one thought: you're just one person away from everything changing in your business.
Mhm.
And what I add on to it now in my own mind is, and that one person might be
Mhm.
you,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Send the message that you weren't going to send.
Mhm.
Make the post that you weren't going to post.
Mhm.
Stop
Mm.
letting maybe and someday get in the
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
Say yes
Mhm.
to any idea that you have, especially
Mhm.
the ones that sound crazy and like they're not going to work,
Mhm.
right? Curiosity is the ace up your sleeve.
Mhm.
If you can just like, people are always like, oh, you have to be confident. Lies,
Yeah,
garbage.
right.
You don't,
I wasn't.
no, confidence usually comes after success.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Mhm.
curiosity that is the ace up your sleeve. So
Mhm.
when you're feeling like, this isn't working, you're blocking yourself from your own genius. And if you could just say, okay, we don't know how to do this. So without knowing how to do it, what's our next step?
Mhm.
And then whatever your brain says back, if your brain's like, go out on the street, talk to that stranger, do it. If
Yeah.
your brain's like, we should go live on Facebook, do it.
Mm.
We should join TikTok. Yep. Whatever idea your brain has, that's the wisdom to tap into every time.
Every time. I love it. You know, it's so funny as well because like I always say that the only thing that we sell in network marketing is certainty. Like it's not like, oh, give it a go, give it a try, give it a year and see how you get on. Like people when you say things like that, people just go, oh, so it might not work after a year. Or it might not work, it might not work for me. Right. I think another thing that you mentioned as well, which kind of brings on to a point I want to share before we transition here is trust. Like people are only going to trust you like as much as you trust yourself. Like if you don't trust yourself, you can't expect people to trust you. And then we always say like, oh, people are going to know you like you trust you. But you need to know yourself. You need to love yourself and you need to trust yourself before you can expect anyone else to do the same to you. So I love this because like you, I believe I'm the most consistent person there is. You can't be more consistent because I turn up every single day. But I just love how you break it down and make it so simple. And guys, if you are getting value whilst you're watching this, please let us know in the comments. Make sure you go and find Emily on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and podcast and all that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But you're so great at what you do. And you just have such a great energy and you have such a great like way of communication and you're super fun that obviously people come to you and they say like, hey, can you help me? Like I need more mentoring, I need more coaching. And you're in a phase of your life in your business right now where coaching just sets you on fire, right? Coaching people in your team, coaching people out of your team. So what are some of the things that, or what would you say is like your coaching superpower that when people come to you and like, I really need your help, that they would come to you because of like X, Y, Z? Like what do you feel is that like superpower that you have?
You know how you can tell when someone is lying to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Humans are experts at reading other humans.
Mm-hmm.
And I can still remember my 4th grade teacher that didn't think I was very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell she just didn't think that I was ever going to figure out long division. And I couldn't because they tried to teach us on a VHS tape wheeled in on a little TV. And no one should ever have to learn long division in that way.
No.
But one thing that I have always been able to do for anyone that has joined my team or anyone that I've ever worked with as a client, I always believe that you can do anything. Like I believe that anyone that I meet can get to the top of their network marketing company. I've seen it too many times. The underdog, the underestimated person. I know that if they just change what they believe about themselves and what's possible, that they can do it. And that is priceless in a coach, because when you have someone that truly believes, and you believe this about your clients too, like I can tell when I see you train, and it's more than confidence, right? It's not ego. It's this belief within that drives everything because you've seen it before and you know the end before they can even see it. And it's that vision for everyone that I work with that is absolutely my superpower, because they don't ever give up.
Right.
Right? Like I'm loyal to a fault. I'm
Yeah.
like even with my team, it's like, you know how like, you know, they've quit four times, 40 times, 4 times, whichever. Yes. And they come back. And my husband is always like, really, that one again? I'm like, it's this time, babe. Like, I know it. This is
okay.
And then, you know, like 3 months later, they're gone. And he's like, I don't understand why you like lean in. Like this is the time. I'm like, I really thought it was going to be the time. Call it gullible, whatever you want. It is a gift that you want in a coach or in an upline or whatever it is, right? Like that you're working with. And so that's it. That's my superpower belief.
You know, it's funny actually. It's because we're very aligned. We have very, very similar kind of thought processes with this. Because I always used to say to my team, "You'll quit on me before I ever quit on you."
Yes.
That I used to say it all the time, and it was like it was a competition. There's like, I'm not quitting. You quit. I'm not quitting. You quit. Like, I'm not doing. No. You do that first. I'm not. No. You do that. And then the second thing is, I needed someone to believe in me before I believed in myself. Like, I just had a lack of belief in my personality, in my introvertness, in my kind of like shyness, in my skills, my ability. And my dad, who was my mentor, he was the one who believed in me. And a lot of you guys know this because I've told you a lot on the podcast, on the YouTube, that my favorite movie scene is from the movie A Star Is Born. When Bradley Cooper kind of goes to Lady Gaga and says, like, I'm going to sing this song, and like, it's a whole thing. But that's all about belief, and belief really is everything. So what do you feel is like maybe like one thing that you think that you see with all the people who you coach, that like they struggle with belief, or they need more belief because blank, or because of like XYZ? Because I know everyone's different, but like, is there something that you usually like, oh my God, like I have a framework for this because everyone's the same, or like, what is it?
Well, first of all, before we get to that, do you feel like anyone really believes that they can do network marketing when they start?
I think when they sign the form, there's an energy and excitement, but then deep down, it's like, I'm not going to be like Super Mary, who's got 32 years experience and does this every single day. Yeah. So
right. Like
no.
I remember seeing my sponsor hit her first rank, and I remember thinking, oh yeah, I wish I was someone that people would listen to. Too bad I'll never be that person.
It's okay
And
for her.
built a downline of 20,000 people, right? And it's like, good thing I didn't believe that little voice in my head. Thank goodness. Right? And that sort of leads me into the question that you were asking, right? Is I have spent so much time in the last year reviewing and looking at every single issue that every client has brought me, thousands and thousands of clients. And I look at like people who are in the lower ranks versus the upper ranks. And they all seem to have the same things that they're worried about with a little tweak, right? So like the people who are brand new, they're like, I'm all alone. You know, I'm doing it wrong. Right? They're thinking things like, I can't get ahead, or I don't know what to do, or I don't know if I know, I don't know if I have what it takes. And when they think those thoughts, they're feeling things like worthless, worried, frustrated, disappointed, disempowered. And then you look at people who are at the top of their company, at the top of their game, just like crushing it. And they're thinking things like, I'm never going to find anyone as motivated as me. Everything falls on my shoulders. I'm always the one that has to do everything, which is not true, by the way. But you think that. So it's just a normal thing that you think, right? Or they'll be thinking like, I'm never allowed to take a day off. How many of us have thought that as a network marketer?
Yeah, for sure.
And then they're feeling like burnt out, overwhelmed, frustrated, discouraged, indifferent, right? Like they're like, oh, I just don't even think I can do this anymore, or whatever it is. And what I noticed when I like look at them all and I write it down all on paper and I map it out, they're actually all feeling the same way, thinking the same things, and they have more in common than they do different. And the idea that something outside of us needs to change for us to get what we want is such a lie. And wouldn't it be awful if we had to get something outside of us to change to get the result we want? That would suck. Like the best news ever is that it's just what you think that creates your result, right? You think a thought, then you have a feeling, then you take action from that feeling, then you have a result. And if we had to control the humans to get the result we want, we'd be in real trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
And people will say, well, you know, I can't rank up without a team. I have to have a team. I'm like, okay, but what does that have to do with what you're thinking? Because what you think creates your feeling, and then that's where you take action from. So, and it doesn't necessarily mean to be like, please don't be positive all the time. That's so annoying. It's and not required. Not required. Spoken from someone that used to like define myself as the happiest person you'll ever meet. Right? No. Like I've created some amazing things in my business from anger, from fear, from discourage, frustration, regret. Like, do you ever watch Jocko? Do you know who that is?
Yeah. I had tickets at one point, but yeah.
So good. Yeah. My husband's done a bunch of his stuff. And so I'm always like, he'll like be watching his courses and I'll come in and I'll be like, this is good. And I'll sit down and watch it with him. And one of my favorite videos, I'm sure you could Google it, Jocko Good. It's like 2 minutes. And in it, he talks about how when people would come to him, like on his platoon, and they'd say, oh, you know, this guy quit or this thing happened and this thing, whatever. And he'd be like, and I know what you're going to say to me. And Jock was like, what am I going to say? He's like, you're going to say good. Good. That person quit. Good. That person jumped to another company. Good. That person turned off their subscription and you missed your rank. Good. Like good. All of it is good. And so like my husband will play it in the morning on the way to school. And my oldest son, he just competed in state championship for mountain biking.
Wow.
And he said he was like riding his bike and his chain came off. And he goes, you know what I said, Dad? And Sean's like, what? He's like, I said, good.
Go on.
I put the chain back on and then I dominated. And I was like, okay,
yes.
this is amazing right now. This is it. This is what it's all about.
Is 14?
He's 14.
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so, you know what? It's interesting because you triggered something that I don't think I've ever shared before. But I'll share it now. Is I remember going through these thought processes, right? And like you mentioned the words, and like some of the words like burnt out, overwhelmed, like some words sound louder than others. Right. And for those of you watching or listening, you probably can relate to what I'm saying here. Like, oh my, that's exactly how I feel. There's maybe one or two words that feel like it's just screaming at you, whereas the other ones are like burnt out, overwhelmed, frustrated. And you're like, whoa. So I remember actually I had this problem. It was with confidence and like, you know, limiting beliefs. And my dad got me to write down all the words that could describe my feelings and emotions. So I just write them down and then he would go, right, close your eyes. And it was really weird because we're not like woo-woo. We don't like that. It's just, that's just not how we've grown up. So I'd close my eyes and I'd be sitting there in his office with my eyes closed. And he would go, right, I'm going to go through all this list. I'm going to go through the list one by one. And you tell me, raise your hand when that word like just hits you like a punch to the stomach. So he would go like frustrated, desperate, lack of belief. And then he would say some words and I'd just be like, yeah. And we realized the other words, the other feelings, they were just excuses. They were just things that I was making up in my head. But then as soon as it was like overwhelmed, burnt out, can't do it, he was like, all right, so you're overwhelmed, you're burnt out, and you can't do it. Are you actually burnt out? No, you're not. You have no signs of burnout. You're just thinking that is. Frustrated. Okay, why are you frustrated? Why are you overwhelmed? And that helped tremendously because I realized I haven't got 20 different negative emotions. I've got maybe 2. And I could work through it. And that was just something that he did with me that just worked super, super well. Emily, how do people find you? Like, I know you have, and by the way, guys, obviously, if you're listening to this on the podcast, go and make sure you find Emily's podcast. It's called Beyond the Rank Podcast. You'll see, because it's just got the glorious Emily on the front cover, and you'll just see the light and the sunshine coming through. And it's really good to subscribe to that because it's really great content. And I think it's going to help you tremendously, especially from the kind of the emotion side, the energy side, the thought process, the coaching that she gives as well. But what else? What other platforms are easy for people to go follow you on? Where are you most active?
So you can find me on Instagram at Emily Gibson Coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recently joined TikTok. I'm so proud of myself.
Nice.
On TikTok, I do all like trauma healing and trauma coaching and abuse and things like that. And so that one is Healing with Emily. That's just kind of fun. It's just, it was like part of my healing process. And then I have a freebie for you that you can go get. Yes. Awesome. That will help you like write down your thoughts, your feelings, and how to change them, like a really simple, just easy thing. And you just go to emilygibsoncoaching.com/freebie. FREEBIE.
.com/freebie. All right,
Freebie.
got it. So guys, for those of you who need it to be simplified, if you go into the description, top line on the description, you will be able to find the link, emilygibsoncoaching.com/freebie. And if you're on the podcast right now, go to the show notes. Yeah, exactly. Go to the show notes and click on the link that'll be in the top of the description as well. Go check that out. But here's the thing, right? Don't just download it. Download it, go through it, and then go and show gratitude to Emily for the time that she spent with us, the value that she's given, and the time that she spent creating the freebie. So, I'm looking forward to the next time we do this. It's going to be super fun. I appreciate you, and thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Love you guys.
See you guys.